Let's get sweaty.
Hey guys, welcome to another Shenmue Dojo video. Today's video I'm going to be looking at the Shenmue 4 section of the Yu Suzuki interview. Now, for those of you who haven't seen the interview, about a week ago we released an exclusive Access All Areas interview with Yu Suzuki himself from Wisenet. James from ShenmueDojo.com and Switch from Phantom Riverstone had the privilege of visiting Wisenet in the flesh and conducted this interview. Like I say, it's a massively extensive interview. Make sure you check it out. The link will be in the YouTube description below for everybody to check out. What my intention with this video and some other videos is to do is break this down and break the interview down into sections, digest it, talk a little bit about it, and potentially then how we can help the Shenmue franchise going forward. Now, naturally, the section that gathered the most excitement, the most positivity, overall at least, was the Shenmue 4 section. So what we're going to do in this video is go over the Shenmue 4 section and future Shenmue games section together, because I feel they fit together quite nicely. Have a look at what's been said, analyse it a little bit, and then go into how we can help. So I'm going to be bringing it on the screen for you right now, this Shenmue 4 section right here. So here it is. So opening question, and it's quite an obvious one, really. Shenmue fans would like to see a new entry. Can you tell us if there's any work regarding that? They're not working on it. It's still in the planning stage. Fine, we know about that. Bearing in mind, they've pitched to some publishers already, so there's going to be some sort of planning underway, and they potentially would have moved on from that. What would it take to get Shenmue 4? They are looking for a partner, and they're quite clear in that. Have people expressed interest? Yes, there's been interest shown by a lot of people. Now, that is positive. I'm going to hang on to that just a minute. Moving away from that, they talk a little bit about the story. They talk about Ryo's journey ending, and he says it will be in China. Is there a chance for him to go back to Japan? No, not currently. We then go into some of the lore around the Chiyu men, and here what Yu Suzuki goes to confirm is that obviously the structure of the Chiyu men remains the same, but there is an additional person who is a strategist. So he works alongside the four leaders and Tente, and essentially plans their strategy, isn't necessarily a fighter or is considered sort of a chief of staff. And James has very helpfully put an image there to explain the structure around it. They're male, highly knowledgeable, and are likely to make an appearance at the end of Shenmue 4, maybe Shenmue 5, and maybe from the sort of reflected in the Chinese Three Kingdoms period, which is really cool. There's no additional mirrors as well. It's only the first two there. There's no connection with that to the Chiyu men leaders. Moving away from that, we come to future Shenmue games. Now, the preference here to complete the number of games left, or the complete series rather, is another 2. Now, Yu Suzuki himself has talked about doing it in one game, but I suspect that has changed given the content from Shenmue 3. He's also talked about afterwards releasing the novel once the games have been finished, which is cool, and it also confirms that the novels are complete. He talked about the development cycle. He said both games would take 5 years, but if both Shenmue 4 and 5 were done in conjunction, very much like Shenmue 1 and 2 were done, then it would take around 6 years to do both games, which isn't a massive amount of time, but it's still, considering how long we've been waiting, a substantial amount of time all the same. And then he sketches out exactly how that's going to look like, and he talks about there's plenty of content that could go into a Shenmue 6 or 7, but alternatively end at 5. Now, 6 or 7, straight up right now, isn't realistic in my mind, and I'm wobbly on whether 5 is, but I'll come on to that in a minute. Obviously, if they put everything in from the novels, it might never actually be finished. They have to shrink the story down, take the bits from the novels, and make a coherent game from that. So that is the interview itself, broken down into sort of very small chunks for everybody, and hope that's helpful for people to digest it. I know I've moved through it quite quickly. The analysis of this. Now, he's given a concrete answer that he wants 2 more games, which is a deviation away from what was the accepted status quo that he could probably do it 1 more game. That is a risk in itself, I'm not going to lie to people, because the market may not dictate that, and also a publisher may not want to commit to 2 games, but you flip that. Alternatively, 2 games could be done because you can use the same assets, you can get assets from Shenmue 3, and they might be able to reduce costs in that way, shape or form. It's challenging, if I'm being honest, given the market size of Shenmue and what I think it is, which I would imagine is around 400,000 to 500,000 people. You know, it sounds like a lot of people, but when you dip into the nitty-gritty of the finances, the budget, etc., it's all of a sudden not that big. And we are a very vocal but very small fan base in the grand scheme of gaming, and it's just the way it is, unfortunately. So you've got to balance that side of things. 2 games. Can they get the budget to do 2 games? Can the market justify 2 games? That is obviously part of the ongoing discussions. What it does secure, however, you do get those 2 games, is I think you then potentially secure the ending of the series, the ending of the story, and we're all happy as Larry, theoretically at least. So then he's talked about discussions. There's been a lot of interest in something like this. This is massively positive, because if you had no interest and people aren't that bothered, we're screwed at the end of the day. But it sounds like publishers or partners, whatever, have at least expressed some sort of interest in this games. So that is positive. The tricky bit is getting that interest over the line, maybe meeting in the middle there, making some concessions around, the publisher's only going to give X amount of money, so that means certain things need to be taken away. But maybe on Wisenet's side, they can negotiate a little bit more money to put in some of the things they really feel that are key to the creative vision for Shenmue 4 and 5. And somewhere, some way, find that middle ground that can work. And the community have a massive part to play in that, which is something I'll come on to very, very shortly. Wisenet are working. They're busy. They've talked about a game that they hopefully be able to announce this year, which is amazing. So they're clearly doing stuff. There's clearly money in there. The lights are on, and all the time the lights are on, all that's moving. Great things always stand a chance. I am going to recognise the concerns around this, and this is balanced from some of the posts that have been on the forums and also the Discord over the last few days. I'm quite positive about Shenmue, and maybe that's also because it's just the way I look at things a little bit here. But I recognise that we are nearly 5 years on. There's been no real concrete information around Shenmue 4. I think this is probably the most concrete information we've had for some time from this interview. And naturally, people are getting worried about it, and I think we should recognise that. And I, too, would be getting worried about Shenmue 4, 5, and potentially the future of the series if we don't have any sort of tidbit by the end of the year. I've always said that, and at that point in time, I think we then need to look at whether potential other avenues could be explored, or at least put those out there. It's difficult for me to say that, but I need to recognise that as the community and as part of the Shenmue community as a whole. I think we need to recognise there will be a point in time that if they can't get this thing done, there needs to be other ways to get the story told. So I completely recognise that. On that note, though, I feel, and I think a lot of us feel, the community can really, really help get this thing over the line. If we stay vocal, we stay united, if we push together, we can tip the balance into getting a deal over the line and Shenmue 4 and even Shenmue 5 made. Now, I've done a video, this was published on Tuesday, talking about how we can do that with a 1 tweet going out at 8 o'clock on UK time, 8 o'clock in the evening UK time, I should say, rather, on the 4th of June, with a message and who to tweet it about all of that. Go and check that video out. The descriptions and the links are all below, but I will also include what you need to put in the tweet and the links to everything you need to be able to participate in this video as well. On top of that, we are now coming into video games sort of showcase season, E3 season for us old heads. That is a good opportunity for us. A lot of these places now, I think Tad on the Discord mentioned this, and I'm stealing this idea because I think it's a good one, that actually when they're starting to ask about what people want from these game shows like Summer Games Fest, Opening Night Live, etc., use those hashtags for those respective events. Use the hashtag Shenmue and also hashtag Let's Get Shenmue 4 to publicise that Wisenet are looking for a partner, that we're looking to push this thing over the line and garner some interest and discussion that way as well, on top of the tweets that we do on the 4th, on top of the harassment of Sega. It will continue until we get anywhere. And hopefully we can get this thing moving, get something over the line and get this story finished. Anyway, guys, you've listened to me bleat on for probably nearly 10 minutes now. Thank you for dropping in with the content, as always. Don't forget, if you want to be a member and get all videos ahead of time, for £2 a month, you just sign up, you get all the videos outside the podcast ahead of time, which is great news for anybody who wants that content nice and early. And I do schedule videos sometimes quite a way ahead as well, so you can get lots of content at a good point in time. What I will say is nothing is locked behind a paywall, so if you don't want to do that, that's fine. All the money, etc., goes to running the site. Thank you, as always, guys, for enjoying the content. Don't forget to give us a like, share, subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and all the usual places. I am losing my ability to talk right now, so I'm going to end the video there. So, guys, take care. Have a good one.